Hi, Brian and Jay from Tucson. I want to continue my series on how we're planting churches, and we're part of the No Place Left movement, and we're trying to multiply disciples and churches and leaders and get the gospel out until there's no place left. That means every man, woman, and child on the planet has heard the gospel. All right, last time I was talking about the churches that we were planting and how they're multiplying, and I just want to continue in that vein and answer some of Jay's questions. Now, what you see here is the gen map of the Church of the 12. Now, Deb pointed out that it looks like addition from the way this map is set up. Primarily, what I'm trying to do with this map is track one stream to the fourth generation. So we're drilling down on one stream. Now, a lot of these folks have multiple churches and multiple streams that they're working with. For instance, in Memphis, BC, he's got several churches that he's working with, but we're just tracking one stream just to coach and see the quality of the church health as it grows. Jim McKnight, he's got a tremendous stream, actually multiple streams. You can kind of see it here that behind those one streams that I'm looking at are multiple churches. So that's how the churches multiply. It's not just addition, it's multiplication. So Jay's got some questions here, and I wanted to answer them, and they are questions reference how many churches are you working with at one time? When do you know it's time to launch that church? And how long do you personally stay with the church? Those questions are hard to answer because it's really based on the capacity of the individual church planter, and it's also it depends on the church as well. So it's a cooperative effort, and there's all kinds of nuances going on. So I'm just going to answer that question as it pertains to me. So I'm super busy with training up leaders and church planters. If I just had one church and there was nobody else to work with, I'd work with that church as long as I could. At a minimum, I'm working with the church until we get through short-term discipleship. Now, what that looks like for me is 9 lessons, and it has the basic DNA for the church. So I want to get them all the way through those lessons, and I like to call them commands because lessons are the commands of Christ. And we focus on obeying the commands. So it may take longer than 9 weeks to get through those lessons. For instance, if we talk about abiding in Christ, personal prayer, and time in the Word, and people are not getting it, we'll repeat that command until people get the hang of it. It's not a punishment. It's just making sure that we're obeying the commands before we move on to the next. And then what I'd like to do with the church is have them teach me. So I've modeled for them. Now I'm going to assist them and watch them. And then it's time to launch. So for me, it's going to take somewhere between 3 to 4 months in that short-term discipleship. Now, if I'm working with leaders in a church, it's going to be for the long haul. So you kind of see Jesus doing this with his ministry. With the 12, he's with them for the duration. With others, like the 72, they're kind of tagging along. They get a little bit more time. For those churches that he's planting out there on the circuit, what he does is spend time, get them going, and then circles back around and checks on them. It's kind of like spinning plates. Get one plate spinning on the stick and you move to the next and the next and the next. But all the while, the disciples, the 12, are with you while you do that. But then you work your way back around to the first few churches. You see the Apostle Paul doing that as he works his way back to the churches to strengthen and encourage the disciples. So you can see that that's a very dynamic process that you're going through, and it's hard to answer the question, when do you launch? Here's a basic rule of thumb. If you just got one church, you stay with that church and get them healthy, but at the same time you're fishing and trying to start another church. Get them through basic discipleship, get them standing up on their own, you appoint elders, and then you move to the next church. If you don't have other churches and you've just got this one little lamb that you're working with, be faithful with the little things and God will bless you with bigger things. So I don't know if that answered the question, but I'm poking in the dark and I hope it did. Please go ahead and ask more questions if you have them. And until next time, keep making disciples until there's no place left.